I've scaled home service companies to 8-figure exits, worked with everyone from Fortune 50 brands to local mom and pops, and I've identified the 5 predictable bottlenecks that keep 87% of home service owners trapped under $500K, working 60-hour weeks, and just one bad month away from a cash crisis. I'm going to show you the exact systems to break through each bottleneck and build to a $1 million plus business that doesn't rely on you or need you to survive. Here's bottleneck number 1. Bottleneck 1 is the revenue ceiling. You know you're hitting this when you're maxed out on jobs. Your calendar is packed 3 weeks out and your revenue stays stuck between $300 and $600K. You're turning away work because you can't physically do more, yet you're not making the money that you really deserve. The core problem? You're still pricing like a technician and not a business. You're charging for your time instead of charging for the transformation and the outcome and the urgency you provide. When someone's AC dies in July or their pipes burst at midnight, they don't care about your hourly rate. They care about the speed and the reliability. Here's your escape tactic. Implement value-based pricing immediately. Create 3 service tiers, a good, better, and best mentality. Your good option is your current pricing. Better adds priority scheduling and extended warranties for 40% more. And best includes same-day service, premium parts, and a 5-year guarantee for 80% more. Present all 3 offers every single time. The data proves this works. Companies that implement tiered pricing see an average of 35% increase in revenue within 90 days without adding a single new customer. That's an extra $140,000 annually on a $400,000 business just from this pricing strategy alone. Bottleneck 2 is the one-man army syndrome. You know you're in this phase when you're the only technician, the only salesperson, and the only person who can handle customer issues. You've tried hiring, but they just don't do it like you do, you tell yourself. So you end up fixing their work anyway. Your business revenue is literally capped by the number of hours that you can physically work. The root problem isn't that you're not able to find good people, it's that you haven't built the systems that make you replaceable. You're carrying the tribal knowledge in your head instead of a documented process. Every job is custom. Every solution, it's improvised, and nobody can replicate your results because they don't exist outside of your brain. Here's your escape tactic. Create your playbook system this week. Start with your 3 most common service calls. Record yourself, either with video or detailed notes, completing each one, start to finish. Document every step. Every tool, every customer interaction script that you use, you know you say the same thing all the time, and then have your next hire shadow you while following this playbook. The goal is not perfection. It's 80% as good as you, which is still going to be better than 90% of the competitors out there. This single change is going to free up 15 to 20 hours per week within the first month. That's time that you can spend selling, marketing, or actually scaling instead of being stuck in the trenches. Bottleneck 3 is the cash flow roller coaster. You know you're here when you have big months followed by terrifying slow months. You're constantly checking your bank account, you're delaying payroll, and you're gambling on whether you can afford that new truck or equipment that you know you need. One bad month and you're scrambling. You're making sales, but the money isn't predictable. The core issue? You're operating a 100% transaction-based business in 2026. You're hunting for every single dollar instead of building recurring revenue that comes in whether you work or not. This makes your business unscalable and unsellable. No investor or buyer wants to have a company that could lose 50% of its revenue if the owner stops grinding. So here's your escape tactic. Launch a maintenance membership program immediately. Charge $29 to $99 a month for a biannual tune-up, priority service, and member discounts. For HVAC, this is seasonal inspections. For plumbing, it's annual pipe inspections and water heater checks. For electrical, it's safety audits and panel inspections. Sell every customer on enrollment at the end of every service call. The math is simple. 200 members at $50 a month is $10K. That's guaranteed monthly revenue. That's $120,000 annually, a predictable income that covers your baseline expenses. Plus, members spend 3 times more on additional services because they already trust you. This alone can stabilize your entire operation. Okay, we've covered the first 3 bottlenecks, and if you want the detailed implementation checklists, the pricing templates, and my complete playbook that we use here with our company, you can download download it for free in the description. There's a link below, and you'll be able to get that right now. It maps out this entire process with step-by-step worksheets that you can use this week. Now, let's get back to bottleneck number 4, which is where most businesses completely stall out. Bottleneck 4 is the marketing money pit. You're stuck here when you're spending thousands on Google ads, door hangers, radio spots, Facebook ads, but you have no idea what's actually working. You get calls, sure, but you can't tell if your marketing is actually making $3 for every one spent or losing money on every lead. You're flying blind, hoping that something sticks. The problem is that you're confusing activity with strategy. You're throwing money at channels because everyone says you should, but you're not tracking the cost per lead, the cost per acquisition, or the lifetime customer value. Without these numbers, you're gambling, and that's not marketing. And most home service owners that we talk to, they're hemorrhaging cash on channels that will never be profitable at their current conversion rates. So here's your escape tactic. Implement the one channel domination strategy. Pick one marketing channel. I recommend Google Local Services ads for most home service companies, and they track everything religiously. Set up call tracking, measure your booking rate, track your average ticket, and calculate your exact ROI. Don't add a second channel until you've optimized your first one to profitability, and then you can scale it predictably. When you do this right, you know that for every dollar spent in these types of ads, it returns $4 to $6 within 30 days. And that's when marketing becomes an investment and not an expense. And that's when you can actually scale to 1 million because you have now a predictable customer acquisition machine and not just a prayer. Bottleneck 5 is the leadership vacuum. You're deep in this phase when your team constantly needs you to solve problems, settle disputes, and make every decision. You've hired people, but you're still the bottleneck. Nobody takes ownership. Nobody thinks like an owner, and if you take a vacation, the business falls apart within about 72 hours. The root cause? You've never transitioned from being the best technician to being a real leader and operator. You haven't built a leadership layer beneath you. So everything still flows through you. You're managing tasks instead of developing leaders. Your org chart is you at the top and everyone else at the bottom. There's no middle layer, there's no accountability structure, and there's no path for advancement. So here's the escape tactic. Hire or promote your first operations manager within the next 90 days. This person owns the scheduling, the technician management, and the quality control. Pay them between $55,000 and $75,000 base, plus about 3 to 5% of the gross profit above your baseline. Give them a clear scorecard, just 3 to 5 KPIs that they own. Customer satisfaction, schedule adherence, technician utilization, and then, of course, gross margin. This single hire is the difference between $500K businesses and $2 million plus businesses. It removes you from the daily operation and lets you focus on sales, marketing, and strategic growth. Companies that make this hire see revenue increase by 60 to 80% within the first year because the owner can finally work on the business instead of in it. So there you have it, the 5 bottlenecks keeping you trapped: the revenue ceiling, one-man army syndrome, the cash flow roller coaster, the marketing money pit, and the leadership vacuum. Break through these systematically, and 1 million plus in revenue isn't just possible, it's inevitable. But here's the truth. Scaling revenue means nothing if you're still paying 50% or more in labor. So this next video, we're gonna cover all the automations and systems that you can put in place, strategies that have saved my clients an average of $87,000 just last year, strategies that you probably haven't heard of. You've heard of the systems out there, but putting them together and in the sequence they're put together is the secret sauce. Click the video on your screen now, and I'll see you on the other side.